Hello and welcome to Balderdash Academy. I'm your headmaster, Bob LeBlanc. Joining me is our faculty professor of STEAM, Nate Green.
Buongiorno.
Professor of Home Ec and Wellness, Marie Stewart-Harmon.
Bonjour.
Professor of Computer Technology, Randy Hunt.
Hi.
And our 5-time reigning champion, tied with Nate for the most wins, Professor of English Language Arts, Molly McGill.
Bon voyage, because you're all going down.
Yes, I did say professor, but we're going with it anyway. Coach Steve is off in an away game right now. Meanwhile, at the away game...
No. You literally could not have gotten that more wrong if you tried. What I said was 2 meatball subs, hold the provolone, add Havarti. Yeah, I know it's weird. That's just how my cats like it, dude.
What are you doing? I have told you every single day to stop coming here. This is not a charity. It's a charity for the birds because they're beautiful and they sing and they bring joy to my life. You are just fat and gray and you wouldn't even make a very good coat.
What was that?
What was that? Time out. Are you kidding me right now? We ran this play 24 times. I don't care that you're only 8 years old. If you want to continue being my niece, you gotta know the difference between a pick and roll and a give and go, okay? No more excuses.
And maybe a side of fried pickles. Yeah, you can throw Havarti on that too.
Our visiting professor today is John McCarthy. John is a 25-year publishing veteran who last served as senior managing editor and spirits and cocktail pundit at Men's Health magazine. Since leaving the magazine, John has traveled the world in search of intelligence about fine wine and spirits, amazing adventures, and incredible stories for publications. And his first book, The Modern Gentleman, a guide to the best food and drink accessories, is available now. The link is in the description. Make sure to pick it up. John has agreed to be the scorekeeper tonight while our faculty members compete for the coveted reigning champion banner. They will do their best in a showdown of competitive comedy. And at the end of each, John will assign points to the competitor he feels is most worthy. He's not looking for the correct answer. He's looking for the best answer, which is for the best because he's likely not going to find the correct answer. The points are arbitrary and can be given to anyone for any reason. At the end of the show, the faculty member with the most points will be named the reigning champion. Our current reigning champion, defending her title, is 5-time reigning champion Molly McGill.
Whoop, whoop.
I said champion a lot there, didn't I?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
All right. And speaking of the champ, that sound means it's time to hear from the champion herself. Our first pop quiz of the evening is from Professor Molly McGill. What do you have for us, champ?
Oh, good evening, faculty. Welcome, Visiting Professor John McCarthy. So great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers back. Just so you all know, last week was fun when we did the quote, but I'm going back to a fan favorite. I'm going back to the word of the day. So, John, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give our faculty a word. They're going to tell me what they think the definition is. And at the end, you're going to give out points. Are you ready, faculty?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Okay. Today's word of the day is Kirkabit. Today's word of the day is Kirkabit. Kirkabit.
Yep.
Marie.
Yes, a kirkabit is a very special type of bit for a horse. It was named after a jockey named Kirk, who was able to communicate through his mind, and he had telepathic messages to this bit. Kirk did, and it went on. The jockeys are able to be one with their horses due to this kirkabit.
Wow, that was an answer. Yeah. Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you.
Randy, what do you got?
Oh, the Kirker bit, I believe, was a term used way back, like in old like barn dances and stuff like that. They'd finish the dance, the boy and the girl, they'd be dancing, and then when they were done, the girl would curtsy a bit, and then the word just transformed over time into the kirk a bit.
Yes, that makes some sense. Tiny curtsies, got it. Okay, and Nate, what do you have?
Yes, it's actually a solution that you put into your favorite beverage. And what it does is when you drink it, it makes you talk like Captain Kirk. And this lasts for several seconds. And then it's done. It's a fun party trick. And you just need a little bit, and it's called Kirk a bit.
All right. Yeah, just a little bit of that. Bob, what do you have?
So it's a term from the Scotch making world in Scotland, particularly. It's a Speyside term referring to the overabundance of alcohol and its effects on American speech patterns. So when an American drinks too much Scotch, they tend to take on a false Scottish accent, at which point they're a little bit Kirk a bit and don't know what you're doing. Like that poor Scottish accent. Yeah. Later on, I might have a Scotch and demonstrate completely what a Kirk a bit is.
Behind the scenes flashback.
Pardon me, I'm fixing my bagpipes.
This has been a Balderdash Academy flashback.
We are not surprised by that. Okay,
your Scottish accent sounds just like your English accent.
It's been a while since I've been on stage to do one. I need to polish up on it.
Okay, faculty, we bit of pandering there to our visiting professor, and that's
goddamn,
okay.
Yeah.
So John, this is what we have. Marie has a telepathic horse bit. Randy has a wee little curtsy from the barn dance. Nate is a Captain Kirkover. And Bob is totally drunk Americans doing a Scottish accent. How would you like to divvy up points if you think any are worthy of them?
Well, first of all, right off the bat, I think Marie is totally right in her answer. So I got that right off the bat. And she came out with it really fast, too. So we're going to give her a lot of points.
Great.
For that.
Awesome.
Bob gets no points for trying to get that Scottish... That whole Scottish accent.
I agree to the point where I'd give myself negative points for that one.
Negative points because I might have.
I've done better.
You can.
All right. So first of all, Marie will give Marie 100 points.
Wow.
Obviously getting the right answer. That's really not the right answer.
Thank you.
Remember, right answer doesn't matter. You're looking for the best answer.
I give you 75 points for coming up with that story. That was really quick and funny, and you got a lot of points for creativity on that. What was it, Kirkavit? Nate, I think you confused Kirkavit with Aquavit, which is a Scandinavian spirit, which makes you do all the things that you said you do. So
I always get them confused.
You kind of messed that up a little bit. I'll give you 50 points for taking a stab at it. How's that?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Love it.
Very generous.
Okay, faculty, as usual, you all don't thrill me. And I realize that when it comes to words, I mean, you thrill me in other ways. But that's for another show.
Thrilling.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some words.
Yeah. Okay. So you haven't been studying. That's not a shocker to anyone.
No.
So jot this down. A Kirkabit is actually a gourd-shaped flask used in distilleries. A gourd-shaped flask used in distilleries, which I think is appropriate for our visiting professor.
I suppose it is.
Absolutely.
I suppose I should have known that. Yet I learned here today.
That's why we're here.
All right.
If it's what I think they're talking about, it's called a thief in American whiskey, which is kind of a long tube that they stick into a barrel and put their thumb on top like you would a straw to present a sample out of a barrel.
Yep.
Sounds like that, but I don't know.
Now I've learned something.
There you go. A thief.
Big school, real laughs.
Before we move on to the next game, I will spin an opening icebreaker question for John from the Balderdash randomizer. The spin will generate a random question that John will try to answer in 30 seconds or less. These questions can be anything from work and play to general trivia or things that we just want to know. The icebreaker question for this one is... John, I hear you're a music junkie, so what was the best show you've been to and why?
In my life?
You can
Sure.
answer it any way you'd like.
Oh man, there's gonna be a couple here, and I know
30 seconds or less.
I know Molly's waiting for me to say something about like Fish or the Grateful Dead because that has been my passion through my whole adult life. But I have to say the best show that I've ever been to in my life would be a Slayer concert at the Ritz in Brooklyn in 1986 for the Rain and Blood tour. I was 17 years old. I lived and died for that band. I was front row. And they just blew the lid off the place, and it was probably the best musical experience I've ever had in my life. So there you go, Slay.
Yes, nice.
That was a good answer.
That is awesome.
My husband will be very pleased.
We have real questions. Our first game is called 4 Questions. Now, John is an expert in spirits, having written for Roads and Kingdoms, Ford, Men's Health, Maxim, JW Marriott Magazine, Bourbon Plus, and Gear Patrol. He is the director of judging for the Barleycorn Awards and International Spirits Competition. He's author of The Modern Gentleman, again, link in the description, and was the whiskey director and bartender at the Rose Room at the Garden City Hotel before the pandemic. So in honor of our visiting professor, tonight's 4 questions will be about one of my favorite topics, whiskey.
All right, let's do it.
Yay!
Whichever one of our faculty members gives the best answer, not the correct, but the best, John will award points. Our first question. The word whiskey is derived from the old Irish term whisky-bea. Whisky-bea means what? So, Marie, what does it mean?
Yes. Wishkabea is what the sweet old Irish mums would whisper to their babes when they were colicky and trying to fall asleep. Wishkabea, wishkabea. And when they would not fully get out of that little colicky, I'm going to cry all night, just a little dab of whiskey right on their gums puts them right to sleep. Wishkabea, wishkabea.
All right, whiskey on the gums. Nate, what do you have?
It is actually comes from the Irishmen who go sailing. And what they do is they look at the map and then they ask, which bay are we going to? Except as they got more drunk, it kind of just starts luring to Whiskey Bay, huh? So there we go.
All right, so drunk directions. Molly, what's your answer?
Wishkabea is actually a code word that they used to use when they got their dole and they were hitting the bars. They'd be like, "Johnny, you coming home tonight?" And he'd be like, "Yes, Martha, I'll be home." And then he'll look at his friend Pete and he'll be like, "Wishkabea." And later off, they'd both meet at the bar and be like, "Ha ha ha ha."
All right, buddy drinking safe word. Randy, what's your answer?
Wishkabea, I believe, was wash the barrel. And when I say wash, we know that, kind of like a cast iron pan, you don't actually wash it because that would be bad. So you actually use a little bit of like feeder whiskey to wash the barrel out to prepare it for being filled with real good whiskey. And then you wait a couple of years.
All right, no, great answer. Barrel wash. So all of those answers contained words. The actual answer was water of life. Whiskey Bea. It's actually where we get the term whiskey from. It was the name given to any alcohol, any distilled alcohol from Irish monks. It's actually a translation of aqua vitae. So speaking of that other liquor. So
I love that bottled water.
John, How would you like to score?
Let's see. So, Randy, I like that you got really close to the whiskey in this, and that you came up with an answer that was, that was close to the barrel. What they do is they steam the barrels in Scotland before they use them. Most whiskey in Scotland, or Scotch whiskey, is made from a used barrel, and most of the used barrels in the world come from bourbon and to a smaller degree rye. The reason for that is because bourbon and rye can only be aged in a new barrel. So once they use them once, they send them to Scotland and they use them up to 8 times. And they'll generally steam those barrels out between uses and stuff like that to get all the stuff out. But you were on to that. So for that reason, you get 100 points.
Heck yeah, Randy!
All right, 100 points.
Marie, I'm giving you more points because at the very end you came up with putting the whiskey on the baby's gums, and I thought that was really clever. So we'll give you 75.
How else do you put babies to sleep? Not a parent.
70.
Not a parent.
75 for Marie.
Am I allowed to curse on
Thank
the
you,
show?
John.
Sure.
Yeah.
Charlie, what the is that? No. Which bay? Everybody's drunk. Which a bay?
Wish you bay.
No, that was cute.
Yeah.
All right, 25 points each for taking a stab.
All right.
Cool.
25 points each. Our next question. So the 4 main Scottish areas of whiskey production are Lowlands, Speyside, Highlands, and Isla. Isla is famous for what, Nate? What is it famous for?
It's famous for being the stunt double of the Eye of Sauron in the Lord of the Rings movies. It was just the stunt double. It did all of the tricks, like any sudden movements. That was Isla.
All right, the double eye of Sauron. Molly, what do you have?
It's famous for Miss Whiskey Universe pageant, which takes place every 5 years. It is coveted. It's open internationally, but usually somebody from that area wins because crowd favorite.
All right. Whiskey goggled universe pageant. Randy, what do you have?
Isla. I'm gonna say that that would be, I don't know, like the channel of water between part of the lowlands area of Scotland and the highlands area. That's it's the Isla.
All right, so it is the border channel. Why not? Marie, what's your answer?
Isla was, there was a lot of sailors around the island for a very long time, and J.M. Barrie, the author of Peter Pan, was talking with one of these sailors one day, and he's like, "What did you see on the island? Well, a lady with fins?" So mermaids originated on the Isla. On Isla, and so much so that it made it into the wonderful story we all know as Peter Pan.
All right, so we have, again, 4 answers. Nate it was a stunt double for the Eye of Sauron. Molly, it's famous for the Miss Whiskey Universe pageant. Randy said it was a channel of water between the lowlands and the highlands, and Marie said it's mermaids. It's famous for its mermaids. Isla is actually famous for its peaty single malt whiskeys. Again, all of your answers were in sentence form. John, how would you like to score?
Well, let's see. We're going to split this up between creativity and actually coming anywhere near the answer. I'm going to have to give Nate 100 points for coming up with stunt double out of all this. I just don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
So we'll give him 100 points. Randy, I'll also give you 100 points for at least picking up the fact that Isla is a region. As Rob said, it's actually an island right off of Scotland that's very famous for making peated whiskey. And that's kind of what it did. And then, and that's kind of what their thing is. And then Molly, Miss Whiskey Universe.
Yes.
Okay, so you were close. There's no Miss Whiskey Universe on Isla, but every year there's like PEAT Week, right?
Yeah.
So once a year, everybody kind of descends. Like all these people just descend on Isla to like relieve it of its whiskey. They do their best, and it's a show as you can possibly imagine. So you get 75 points for that, and Marie, you get 25 points. I'm sorry.
I'll take 25. Thank you.
All right, our next question. Alcohol does evaporate from a whiskey barrel during the aging process. This evaporated alcohol is known as what? Molly, what's your answer?
It's known as the allergy medicine that you use as a nasal inhaler. They actually recycle it and use it because of its medicinal properties. Now, when they say don't drive heavy machinery, like they aren't joking about that. Don't operate the heavy machinery because that whiskey evaporation is just going to clear you out, but make you a little tipsy.
All right, so allergy medicine inhaler. Randy, what's your answer?
It's funny because that's really close to what I was going to say. It's actually it's spirit mist, I believe, and it's an allergy thing, but it's a nasal spray. It's a spirit mist, and it gets you a little bit drunk and clears you right up at the same time.
All right, alcohol-based nasal spray. I'm surprised that's actually not a thing. Marie, what do you have?
Well, as we all know, here in 2020, we've been in a pandemic, and a lot of the distilleries around here have been resourcing some of their alcohol into hand sanitizer. And this is not a new thing. This has been done for ages. Back to this, those small particles that have evaporated out are highly alcoholic, and they clean things. Just go with me, Bob. Just go with me. They use this to clean out the distillery after. And so it's bringing back to where it came from to clean it. It's resourcing. It's recycle, reduce, reuse, recycle. And recycle. Also recycle.
All right. So it is alcoholic alcohol. Nate, what do you have?
Well, I mean, as everybody knows, angels can't actually swallow beverages. They just have to put them in their mouth and spit them out. What they can do is inhale them. So this is called angel candy, mostly because it's real life angel booger sugar. And that's how the angels up above us that look over us, that's how they get their fix. They just hover over breweries or whiskey plantations or whatever they're called, and they inhale those vapors.
Rick houses.
That was my third guess. I almost said it. I'm so sorry I stopped.
So what Nate said was that the angels know the street value of that evaporated alcohol. So Molly it was the medicine in an inhaler. You have a spirit mist nasal spray from Randy, hand sanitizer from Marie, and angel nose candy from Nate. I can't believe I'm saying this with that answer, but Nate was the closest.
Oh my God.
It is actually, it's referred to as the angel's share. So John, how would you like to score?
Holy cow.
Right, you must have known that though, right? Because you came up with angel right off the bat. I was like, oh, he knows it or whatever, and then it became.
I had no idea.
I guarantee he didn't. That's why it's so great.
Booger sugar.
Just to answer this question the longest possible way, angel share is oxidation in the barrel. So there are two processes happening in the barrel while whiskey is aging. One of them is wood to liquid ratio, so it's actually breathing in and out of the wood and out of the char in the wood to get the flavor, and then air is getting into that wood, which oxidizes that whiskey, and that helps that flavor also. But condensation from the barrel, because it's porous, is what they call angel share, and they lose about 3 to 5% a year from the barrel.
Wow.
But ultimately, it helps for flavors, so it has its good points. Anyway, 100 points for Angel Booger Sugar. I don't even know what to say about the rest of them.
That's fine.
We didn't
All
really
right.
either.
Clearly. So, I don't know, 25 points for everybody else.
Woo!
25 for
take it.
everybody else.
There you go.
All right. So, our last question in 4 questions. Love 'em or hate 'em, Rex and Daniel of the Whiskey Tribe try to make the world of whiskey more accessible. They also occasionally experiment with spirits, and this last question is about that. In a recent post, what did they do with whiskey? Randy, what's your answer?
I believe they recreated the Coca-Cola Mentos experiment, but using whiskey, and it failed miserably. And all it did was just make minty flavored whiskey that nobody wanted.
All right. Creme de yuck. Marie, what do you have?
They did this test. It did not go over well. This was after they watched a recent sitcom that's been on television that most people know about, The Office. Michael Scott at one point goes to take a sip of whiskey and he asks for some Splenda. And so these brothers were like, okay, maybe the world wants Splenda in their whiskey. So they tried it. It did not go well. Don't put Splenda in your whiskey.
All right. Ruining a good whiskey. Nate, what do you have?
They actually, they had a term for this test, but I'm not going to mention it because this is not, doesn't have good connotations, but they tried using it as a, fuel alternative. So they would put it into a car. They started with a Fiat, and they put a whiskey into it, to use it as fuel. Surprisingly, it didn't work.
All right. That is surprising since whiskey is flammable. Molly, what do you have?
Well, they really wanted to make their whiskey last, and they really wanted to keep that, fuzzy buzz going throughout the day. So what they did is they did an experiment with microdosing whiskey. So they would each take just a little bit every half hour or so. It turned out a little sloppy at the end. Come day 3, things were looking hairy. So, did it work? You be the judge.
All right. So Molly with alcohol poisoning over a 3-day mini bender. So you have Randy with Coke and Mentos, but with whiskey. You have Marie that she Splenda in the whiskey. You have Nate with a fuel alternative, and you have Molly with microdosing. Those were 4 very answered answers. The actual answer was closest to Randy's. They put their whiskey through a soda stream, and they carbonated it. So we actually have a link to that episode in the description. There you go.
Was it good?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to be honest with you. If I'm going to do that, I'm just going to make a highball. So
let's turn to the expert. John, have you had carbonated whiskey?
First of all, I did not know that at all. I had no idea what the answer was. That sounds horrible, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, you have to try it. It sounds horrible. It doesn't mean it is horrible. So if it works, it works. To Rob's point, though, you could just put a little club soda. I like to do maybe 3 to 1 or so. Ratio with that, and like a nice long peel. If you could do that of anything citrusy you like. I like lemon, but
fancy.
All I'm thinking of is, can you imagine adding the bitterness, that sourness of carbon dioxide directly to the whiskey?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's going to mess up the congeners. There's no doubt about that. It's going to make everything big and round and filled with air. And I just can't imagine it would taste as delicious as a really nice made highball.
I'm going to try it at the break, so I'll let you know in about 10 minutes.
It's a very simple drink, but if you just put a little crown of mint on top, you get kind of that olfactory hit as you drink it. It's really, really nice. No sugar. So anyway, A real highball is
I really wish you were here to make us a drink. It sounds so good.
Here
Be
she
in the
means
description.
Score.
5 other here's.
Everybody wear a mask so we can drink more together, no doubt.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So because Randy got so close, and little did I know, we'll give Randy 100 points for that. That was cool. In my mind, the only thing that was even remotely feasible of these was Nate's fuel idea. And I know a lot of distillers who started as people interested in changing what's it called, like eco fuel, like changing spent oil to fix cars and stuff like that, or to run cars. And after doing that, they realized that is a terrible line of work, and making whiskey is a lot cleaner and nicer and better. So for that, you get 100 points. Microdosing whiskey, 75 points just for the very idea of it, and 50 points for Splenda.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Why not why not diet whiskey? It's better than Soda Stream.
All right. So
Thanks, John.
here we go. Our
Oh, I
points
gave you less.
are.
Sorry about that. I'll make it up to you.
It's all right. Our points are: in last place, we have myself with 25.
Oh, I forgot
Next,
to give you
we
a
have. I don't need them. I'm fine with it. Next, we have Molly with 200.
Come on, John.
Marie with 275. Nate with 375 in the lead. We have Randy with 400 points.
Wish a
Well
bay.
done.
What?
Yeah. So join us for a conversation with John, the author of The Modern Gentleman, the guide to the best food, drinks, and accessories, when we return to Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!
Get your angel boogers ready.
For complete episodes and more, visit us at balderdashacademy.com.
Whether you're a modern gentleman or a whiskey rebel, you won't want to miss out on the next part of Balderdash Academy with Visiting Professor John McCarthy. He schools us on everything from starter whiskeys to the life cycle of a spirit. Find out about his career in publishing, managing one of the nation's most popular manly magazines, his ascent to a scholar of spirits, and get yourself some insider info on what a man who lives life reviewing cocktails would make for a guest. Catch it on the next part of episode 14, only on Balderdash Academy.
Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. You can find us on your favorite podcast service as Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!